She's not here today. Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, members of the media. I'd like to say good morning to our guests, our party political leaders represented here today, city officials, our esteemed mayoral committee, our city manager, members of the mayor's office, and members of the media. Good day. Lovely to have you here with us this morning. I'm sure you're all aware about what this briefing is about. On the 30th of October, we convened you all here today to sketch out what our 100 days program would be for service delivery in the city and the recovery of the city. So this is the conclusion of that 100-day period, and we will be here to outline some of the successes and celebrate some of the successes and sketch out some of the challenges that we faced over the 100-day period. And we will look forward to having your questions and answers after the Executive Mayor makes her address on behalf of the multi-party mayoral committee before us today. With that said, I am Samgelo Mgobozi. I will serve as your program director for this evening's proceedings. Many of you I've met before. We know how we like to do things. I like to keep things nice and tight. So we'll have the mayor make her formal remarks, and then after that we will have a question and answer session, which I will chair. And during that session, you will direct your questions to the Executive Mayor or any of the MMCs you see before you today, and we're lucky to have our accounting officer, City Manager Johan Medler, with us this morning. Without any further ado, Executive Mayor, over to you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, let's apologize for the delayed start. We wanted to just make sure that everyone was in the venue before we got started, so we do sincerely apologize for the late start. Secondly, we must apologize. It's going to be a lengthy submission on our part. We didn't want to take anything for granted, and while we're going to share with you the comprehensive report of our 100 days in office, but we also wanted to be the ones that are announcing on it as well. So please, in advance, bear with my lazy voice. I would like to acknowledge the Deputy Executive Mayor, the Honorable Speaker of Council, the members of the Mayoral Committee, Section 79 Committee Chairpersons, the City Manager, the officials of the city, most importantly, our political leaders that are present here, the members of the media. We continue to thank you for always heeding our call. When we ask you to come and be the mouth between ourselves and the residents, you always respond, and we always appreciate that. But this morning I do want to acknowledge and greet the residents of Tshwane, the people that are the reasons why we wake up every morning and do the best that we can. Good morning, and thank you for joining us. On 30th October last year, the Multi-Party Mayoral Committee stood before you and made ambitious commitments to the residents of Tshwane. We pledged to improve services in all communities, to strengthen governance, and to build a capital city that we can all be proud of. Today, we stand before you to account for the work we have done over the 100 days, to share the progress we have made, and to outline how this foundation will guide the priorities for the remainder of our term in office. We were under no illusions about the challenges that lay ahead. While we do not wish to dwell on the past, it is important to acknowledge the difficult circumstances that we have inherited. The city's budget has been unfunded for several years, meaning there is insufficient income to cover expenses, including the provision of basic services and capital investments. Tshwane's debt stood at over 11 billion rand, with 6.76 billion owed to Eskom alone. The demand for capital investment over the next decade exceeds 65 billion rand, yet the city's current annual capital budget is only 2.3 billion rand. At this rate, it will take us 36 years to meet the 10-year demand. Chronic underinvestment in repairs and maintenance left the city's aging infrastructure vulnerable to frequent breakdowns, leading to weekly power and water outages for residents. Vandalism and criminal activities such as cable theft and illegal connections placed an additional strain on our infrastructure and further reduced the city's ability to provide reliable services. The city was in a state of neglect, with dirty streets, failing infrastructure, and significant disparities in service delivery between affluent areas and townships and informal settlements. The contrast between affluent suburbs like Waterkloof and the impoverished areas like Winterveld remains deeply troubling. This inequality is compounded by unemployment, with over 34% of the city's over 4 million residents struggling without the dignity of work. Finally, many residents felt neglected and disengaged from the work of government, having lost faith in our ability or willingness to improve their daily lives. Over the past 100 days, we have worked to address these challenges head on. While we recognize that we have not met all our targets, we have made meaningful progress and, most importantly, laid a strong foundation for the changes still to come. The report we are presenting today demonstrates the work that has been done. It also provides an honest assessment of where we must do better. At the outset of this 100-day plan, we committed to focusing our efforts on 6 key priorities. The first one being the financial stability, the second one, economic revitalization, third one being infrastructure development, fourth one, equitable basic service delivery and a clean city, fifth one, bylaw enforcement and urban safety, and the last one, bringing government closer to the people. Each of these priorities represents a critical pillar in restoring Tshwane's ability to function as a world-class capital city, one that delivers services fairly and efficiently, fosters economic growth, and improves the lives of all those who call the city of Tshwane their home. As we reflect on the past 100 days, it is clear that we still have much work ahead. However, the progress we have made so far gives us confidence that we are on the right path. Today is not just a reflection on what has been achieved, but a commitment to what still needs to be done. As I continue with the reflections, I will start with the financial stability. Restoring the city's financial stability has been our top priority, as no municipality can effectively deliver services without the necessary financial resources. The good news is that our efforts are yielding results, and we believe we are now on track to present a fully funded budget for the new financial year, an important milestone for the city of Tshwane. Central to our financial recovery has been improving revenue collection. We set ourselves an ambitious target of collecting 4 billion rand per month. While we have not yet achieved this target, we have consistently achieved an average monthly revenue collection of 3.3 billion rand a month. This progress is particularly encouraging given that December and January are historically difficult months for revenue collection due to the financial pressures associated with the festive season. Importantly, our revenue collection from November to January exceeded the same period in the previous year. We have also surpassed focused collections for the current financial year by over 500 million rand to date. In real terms, this means that with each passing month, the city is becoming stronger in its ability to provide basic services to more residents. To ensure fairness and accuracy in our billing system, we have prioritized moving away from estimated billing to actual meter readings. Residents have a right to be billed on actual consumptions, not estimates, and this shift is essential in building trust and ensuring that ratepayers are treated fairly. We had set ourselves a target of 95% of all residents and businesses being billed based on actual readings. I am pleased to report that we have reached 90%. With continued focus, we are confident that we will achieve the 95% before the end of the financial year. Managing the city's debtors book also remains a priority. We are taking a two-pronged approach. The first one is that of classifying the debt book to differentiate between a recoverable and irrecoverable debt, allowing us to focus resources on the areas with the greatest return on investment. We now understand in terms of our classification that our debtors book that has increased from 26 billion to 29 billion is made up of the residential debt, which is at 15.8 billion, indigent households at 2.6 billion, business at 6.75 billion, government at 1.79 billion, and we have inactive accounts to the tune of 1.75 billion. The second approach to our debtors book is that we must strengthen our credit control measures to address non-payment among those who can afford to pay for our services. Over the past 3 months, we issued over 242,000 final notices for outstanding debt, which generated 285 million rands in cash. We also effected over 66,000 disconnections. We set a target of maintaining at least 50 million rand in cash reserves per month. As of January 2025, our cash reserves stand at 368 million rand, more than the 100% that we have set for ourselves. This financial cushion is critical in ensuring that we have contingency funds to respond to unforeseen challenges. We have also made significant progress in managing our creditor obligations, particularly addressing our debt to Eskom. Since taking office, we secured an agreement to ring-fence the historic debt of 6.67 billion. This arrangement prevents the debt from accruing further interest, provided that we maintain payments on our current account. I'm pleased to report that we have successfully honored this agreement, and the historic debt has been reduced from 6.76 billion to 6.1 billion to date. This is a crucial step in stabilizing the city's finances and ensuring a reliable electricity supply for businesses and households alike. Our financial discipline has improved our liquidity outlook from 0.57 in October 2024 to 0.81 in January 2025. We are on track for one liquidity outlook with the support of a funded budget and a continued financial management. Our commitment to financial stability extends beyond the revenue collection and debt management. We are also determined to improve the city's audit outcomes and governance practices. The Auditor General of South Africa recently released its findings for the 2023-2024 financial year. The report reflects a stagnation in the city's audit outcomes, with Tshwane receiving a qualified audit opinion for a second consecutive year. To address these issues, we have introduced a comprehensive audit outcome remedial action plan. This plan is designed to tackle the root causes of the audit findings and bring about lasting improvements. A key element of this plan is our collaboration with AGSA. The city has formally requested AGSA to conduct an official audit review of the corrective measures we have implemented by 31st March 2025. This will ensure that we fully address the qualification areas that the Auditor General has noted and make sure that the AGSA has confidence in our financial reporting ahead of the 2024-2025 audit process. The AGSA also flagged lack of consequence management as a concern, and we are pleased to report on the ongoing forensic investigations and disciplinary actions, with the following key outcomes reported. Of the 180 forensic investigations that have been concluded, they have resulted in 129 cases where disciplinary action is recommended against employees. Secondly, 39 cases have been referred for criminal prosecution, 48 cases identified for financial recoveries. Secondly, 3.6 billion in unauthorized, irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure was investigated in Q2 of the financial year, with findings now being processed by the Municipal Public Accounts Committee for action. 67 officials have been dismissed following due disciplinary processes, while 31 officials have received final written warnings. 70 cases have been referred to the Financial Disciplinary Board for the first time. Such referrals have been made, further strengthening financial oversight mechanisms. We have also strengthened oversight mechanism through regular audit steering committee meetings chaired by the CFO and the Executive Audit Tracking Committee meetings, which I chair. These structures ensure that financial governance remains a top priority and that we track our progress with clear accountability. The financial recovery of Tshwane will not be achieved overnight, but the progress we have made in the first 100 days demonstrates that we are on the right path. The second priority that we have committed on was the economic revitalization. Economic revitalization has been a key focus of the multi-party mayoral committee over the 100 days, with a strong emphasis on fostering investment, supporting businesses, and creating job opportunities for Tshwane residents. One of key deliverables has been the development of a comprehensive economic revitalization strategy aimed at strengthening support for SMMEs, improving the ease of doing business, and accelerating growth of the township economy. As part of this strategy, we've already introduced several key interventions. One of the most significant milestones has been the launch of a VIP service line for the city's top 200 business clients. This initiative ensures a fast and responsive approach to service delivery issues affecting major businesses and investors in Tshwane, reducing bureaucratic delays and fostering a more efficient business environment. To streamline development approvals, particularly in the construction sector, we have successfully reduced the turnaround time for building plan approvals. This improvement is further supported by the new application processing system, which is an automated online planning and land use application system designed to modernize and accelerate the approval process. The city has also prioritized critical infrastructure investment to support key industries, particularly the automotive sector in Roslyn and the Waterloo industrial zones. A key example is the Roslyn and the N4 power line substation upgrade, which started in November. Both are critical in ensuring a stable and reliable power supply for this high-growth industrial hub. This project underscores the city's commitment to creating an enabling environment for manufacturing and industrial expansion. Inner city rejuvenation has also been a key priority for the 100 days. The administration has intensified efforts to clean up and rejuvenate Tshwane's inner city, focusing on bylaw enforcement, increased policing, and the removal of illegal dumping sites and activities. To tackle the issue of abandoned and hijacked buildings, we have established a mayoral subcommittee on bad buildings, which will play a central role in reclaiming neglected properties and repurposing them for private sector-led mixed-use development. One such example is the recent handover of Schubert Park to the Zoseletso Consortium, which has committed over 1 billion rand to redevelop the site into a vibrant mixed-use development, including 1,300 affordable housing units and commercial spaces. This project serves as a model for how the city can work with the private sector to repurpose neglected buildings into functional spaces and benefit both businesses and residents. Lastly, the city took a decisive action in response to the foodborne illness crisis that tragically claimed the lives of children across South Africa. Tshwane became the first metro in South Africa to launch an online portal for the registration of spaza shops and food handling businesses following a directive from the President on 15 November 2024. This registration process was introduced to improve regulatory oversight and food safety standards in the informal food sector. Initially set with a 21-day registration deadline, which was later extended to the end of February 2025. The initiative has already received 4,109 applications, with 54% from South African citizens and over one-third from women-owned businesses. Beyond the immediate crisis response, the city is also implementing long-term regulatory reforms to formalize and strengthen the informal economy. Public participation on the draft Informal Trading and Township Economy Bylaw 2024 will be initiated following its approval in late 2024. This bylaw was prioritized to incorporate the standard draft bylaws for township, village, and rural economies, aligning Tshwane's regulatory framework with national and provincial efforts to enhance compliance, strengthen consumer safety, and create a structured, well-regulated informal trade sector. And on the side of Tshwane, our bylaw also have a provision to ensure we reserve the sector, which is informal trade sector, for Tshwane residents first. The third priority is infrastructure development. Ensuring safe, reliable infrastructure is the foundation of our ability to deliver essential services to Tshwane's residents. Over the past 100 days, we have taken critical steps to improve water, electricity, and roads infrastructure, acknowledging the pressing challenges the city faces in these areas. Our administration took office at a time when Tshwane, like much of Gauteng, was facing a severe water crisis. The situation had required urgent interventions on multiple fronts to stabilize supply, improve infrastructure, and protect water security for the future. One of the most significant achievements have been the progress made in addressing Hammanskraal water crisis in partnership with Magalies Water and National Department of Water and Sanitation. In January 2025, Phase 1 of the Magalies Klipdrift water treatment plant upgrade was completed, which now delivers 12.5 megaliters of treated water per day to 4 wards in Hammanskraal. This represents a short-term emergency intervention to improve water quality and ensure immediate relief to affected communities. It is important that we continue to monitor the project so that we can meet the deadline of June 2025, in which all the areas that are affected by the dysfunctional Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant can be supplied with clean and drinkable water. At the same time, we cannot only rely on the intervention project. We have accelerated efforts to deliver a long-term solution through the refurbishment of the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant. Working with the DBSA as our implementing agent, Phase 1 of the project has now been concluded ahead of schedule, which allows us to bring forward Phase 1B by 5 months. Originally planned for September 2025, Phase 1B will now begin in March 2025, with the full project expected to be completed by June 2026. Beyond Hammanskraal, we have also tackled long-standing water supply challenges in Lodiam, Atteridgeville, and Soshanguve, where many communities have faced persistent outages due to failing infrastructure for several years. Supply to the Mamelodi Reservoir has been significantly boosted, and we are taking strong action to address illegal connections at the Mabopane main reservoir, which have placed additional strain on the system. While we are encouraged by this progress, we acknowledge that much work remains to be done in communities such as Ikageng and Bronkhorstspruit, which continue to experience severe water challenges. The city also continues to confront aging electricity infrastructure, persistent load reduction, and rampant vandalism. One of the most significant challenges we face is criminal syndicates that target electricity infrastructure, as demonstrated by the recent attempted heist at the Claudia substation, which involved a criminal network that included a city employee. Despite these setbacks, our administration has prioritized key upgrades to improve electricity supply. Alongside the Roslyn and the N4 power line substation upgrades, which supports industrial development, we've also fast-tracked critical upgrades to the IA substation to resolve power supply issues in Soshanguve. For far too long, Soshanguve residents have suffered from unreliable electricity supply due to a failure to invest in maintenance and to address illegal connections. We are working hard to change this by ensuring that investment in electricity infrastructure benefit law-abiding citizens and businesses rather than being lost to theft and sabotage. Ladies and gentlemen, when we took office, we made a commitment to prioritize quality service delivery that serves all communities across Tshwane. Hence, the fourth priority, which was to ensure equitable basic service delivery and maintain a clean city. For too long, many residents have felt neglected, experiencing unequal access to basic services, particularly in townships, informal settlements, and rural areas. We cannot allow a situation where some residents of our city live without dignity, lacking access to essential services. Addressing this inequality remains a driving motivation of this administration. Over the past 100 days, we have focused on addressing key service delivery backlogs and accelerated maintenance programs to ensure that infrastructure is restored and functional. One of our most important interventions has been improving public lighting to enhance safety and security. In this period, we have repaired 21,285 street lights. We have restored 291 HIMARS lights against a target of 200 that we've set for ourselves. We have also commissioned 19 new HIMARS lights in strategic areas to improve visibility and deter crime. Additionally, 336 LED streetlights were installed in Region 1 and Region 6, surpassing our initial target of 300. These LED lights are significant because they don't only help us to improve street visibility, but also reduce power consumption, saving the city money in the long term. Road infrastructure has also been a major focus area. From an inherited backlog of 692 potholes, we have successfully repaired 687, achieving a 99% reduction on the inherited backlog. Reopening of the city's Bonaccord asphalt plant with a 5-year license has allowed us to ramp up our repair work, ensuring that potholes are addressed faster and road networks remain safe for motorists and pedestrians. Furthermore, we have resurfaced 16 kilometer stretch of roads in Garangua, improving mobility and road conditions in these areas. We have also started fixing Jekis Road in Winterveld after years of this road being unusable to motorists. The city is also making strides in improving water and electricity delivery. A total of 2,100 meters of water pipelines have been replaced, significantly enhancing water distribution and reducing leakages and our water losses. On the electricity front, 3,207 smart prepaid meters have been installed, improving billing accuracy and energy management. These meters allow residents to better monitor their electricity use while also enabling the city to reduce billing discrepancies and improve revenue collection. Additionally, the city's efforts to reduce electricity losses have shown positive results, with losses dropping from 22.78% to 20%. This improvement reflects enhanced management, better enforcement against illegal connections, and greater efficiency in energy distribution. On the waste collection front, we continue to roll out targeted interventions to improve waste management and public cleanliness. As a result, a total of 747 illegal dumping sites have been cleared across all 7 regions, and 198 fines were issued to deter further illegal dumping. Our weekly Ria Spanner operations, launched to bring government closer to the people, have engaged communities in cleanup campaigns and promoted a culture of community involvement in keeping the city clean. Through these interventions, the city is laying a strong foundation for a cleaner, safer, and more service-driven capital city that every resident can be proud to call home. Our 5th priority was to ensure and strengthen bylaw enforcement. Law and order form the foundation of this multi-party administration, and over the past 100 days, we have intensified bylaw enforcement efforts under the Reclaim Our City campaign. Through a multidisciplinary approach, we have stepped up enforcement operations across the city, targeting illegal activities, improving compliance, particularly in the inner city and business districts. The Tshwane Metro Police Department has been conducting daily enforcement operations, supported by weekly joint operations with national enforcement agencies. These efforts have shown significant results, ensuring that businesses and residents comply with municipal bylaws. As part of the city's commitment to ensuring law and order, the TMPD undertook extensive crime prevention and enforcement operations throughout the festive season, aligning the 100-day target period. These operations focused on high visibility policing, road safety, enforcement, and crime prevention intervention in key areas across the city. During this period, an average of 809 officers with 166 vehicles were deployed during the day shift, while 334 officers with 57 vehicles operated at night, ensuring around-the-clock law enforcement presence. Significant arrests and enforcement actions were carried out, including 57 individuals who were arrested for drunken driving, 181 pedestrians apprehended for endangering public safety by crossing roads unlawfully, 46,496 RTO notices issued for various traffic violations, 28,381 vehicles searched, and 37,600 vehicle inspections conducted, ensuring compliance with safety regulations. 22,316 individuals searched as part of crime prevention efforts, resulting in multiple arrests. Bylaw enforcement also remained a priority, with 2,445 bylaw fines issued for offenses such as illegal trading, non-compliant businesses, and public nuisance violations. Additionally, TMPD intensified its crackdown on unroadworthy illegal operated vehicles, impounding 1,350 non-compliant vehicles, including unlicensed public transport taxis, unregistered delivery bikes, and illegally operating tuk-tuk taxis. Since November 2024, a total of 48 large-scale enforcement operations have been carried out. These operations focused on food safety compliance, the regulations of spaza shops, and the crackdowns on unsafe trading practices. As a result, 1,018 spaza shops were inspected, 1,000 non-compliant businesses were fined. Beyond business compliance, our teams have also clamped down on illegal utility connections and environmental offenses. Over the past 100 days, 38 operations were conducted to disconnect illegal water and electricity connections. 323 operations targeted illegal dumping. These actions demonstrate this administration's commitment to restoring order, upholding municipal bylaws, and ensuring the safety and well-being of Tshwane residents. By continuing to prioritize visible policing and enforcement operations, we aim to build a safer, cleaner, and law-abiding city for all. The last priority was bringing government closer to the people. This administration is committed to meaningful engagement with residents, ensuring that the voices of communities across Tshwane are heard and that government remains accessible, transparent, and responsive. Over the past 100 days, we have actively prioritized direct interaction with the residents, holding 13 imbizos across all 7 regions, covering urban and rural areas, townships, and suburbs. The following communities were visited: Garankuwa, Hammanskraal, Soshanguve, Oliven, Centurion, Nkangala, Refilwe, Nelmathias, Waterkloof, Atteridgeville, Gomorrah Informal Settlement, the Royval Farmers, and informal traders. In addition to in-person engagements, we recognize the growing importance of digital platforms in modern governance. A significant milestone has been the dramatic increase in resident interaction on social media, with engagements rising from 36,104 in December 2024 to 84,119 in January 2025. This surge highlights the need for a more responsive and proactive approach to digital communication as part of a broader integrated customer relations management strategy. To further improve accessibility, particularly in underserved communities, the city has embarked on a process to reconfigure its walk-in centers. This initiative involves categorizing these centers into mega, satellite, and remote centers, with the goal of standardizing service delivery and ensuring that all residents, regardless of location, can access municipal services with ease. Finally, as part of our commitment to modernizing service delivery, a new municipal act is in the final stages of development. Once launched, this app will enable residents to log service requests, track their progress, and access billing information, bringing essential services to residents' fingerprints. Fellow residents, as I conclude, it is clear that while we have made significant progress over the past 100 days, our work is far from over. This report marks the beginning of our journey, not the end. The foundation we have laid will serve as a springboard for deeper, more sustained improvements in service delivery, infrastructure, financial stability, and communication engagement. We recognize the challenges that remain, but we are committed to the path ahead. In the coming weeks, we will table our first adjustment budget, which will provide another opportunity to refine our priorities and direct resources towards the areas that need urgent intervention. Beyond this, we are also working on the 2025-2026 annual budget, where our clear objectives is to present a fully funded budget that prioritizes tangible service delivery. We are under no illusion about the scale of the task before us. The road to recovery and transformation is not an easy one, but I'm confident that we will succeed. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the members of the Mayoral Committee, the Multi-Party Mayoral Committee, for their hard work, dedication, enthusiasm that they bring to the work. That without your support, none of this would have been possible. But we also want to look to our political leaders who have trusted us with this task to say, we wish to continue on the path to rescue this city for its residents in a way that makes you proud. A special thank you to the city manager and his team of officials who have worked alongside us to begin turning the city around. Your support has been invaluable, City Manager, and we look forward to building on the progress we have made together. To the frontline workers and city employees, the foot soldiers of this administration, your dedication and commitment to improving lives of Tshwane residents does not go unnoticed. The achievements we present today belong to all of us. And finally, to the residents of Tshwane, thank you for your patience and trust as we work to restore the capital to its rightful status. We remain committed to ensuring that Tshwane lives up to its name as the administrative and economic heart of South Africa. I firmly believe that by working together, we can build a city we are all proud of, a city that is cleaner, safer, and better for all who live and work here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, EM, for those remarks. You were indeed correct. It was part of letter submission, but I feel it is important information that all the members of the public, as well as the media, needed to ensure that we are an open, transparent, and responsive government. With that said, colleagues, you have all received a copy of Madam Mayor's remarks, and I will now open the session for questions and answers. If you can just raise your hand and use the console before you to turn on the mic, you can ask your question. And before asking your question, please state from which media house you are from, pose your question, and then we will take 3 per round, and I'll invite the Executive Mayor to come back to the podium to answer those questions in 3 question segments. With that said, colleagues, any questions? We'll go 1 here, 2 there. Am I missing? Okay, we'll take your question and then we'll go to you at the back there in the light blue shirt.
Just with a commitment to, sorry, my name is Elise Parker, Pretoria Record for some Caxton Media, please. It's just on transparent administration. I just need 2 questions to be answered, please. Before the 100 days, there was a commitment to transparency. I just need to know if we get around to the councillors' own accounts, have these been paid up for the past 3 months? Is it up to date? And the other question is in connection also with transparent administration. I just need to know, since November, the portfolio committees have not met. Some of them have met, the others not. Is there a commitment for these portfolio committees to be meeting again very soon? And then, conducive to that, I would like to know, the Section 79 committees, some of them have now sort of like oversight by the mayor. Is this regulatory? Is this lawful that the mayor now takes the Section 79 committees underneath her and for her oversight?
Thank you for that question. And then to the young lady at the back there.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Nobukai Nyamdambo from Eyewitness News. Just a few for the mayor, please. The first being, you've never shied away from the fact that Tshwane's finances are obviously in dire strait, but improving, I suppose. And you mentioned the need to have a more efficient credit control in place. What does that look like? Have you figured out how you can make that a bit more efficiency? If you have more efficient, apologies. If you have, what does that look like? In terms of your Eskom debt, I'm assuming by that lowered figure in terms of your debt from the 6.5, I think, to the 6.1 billion that you mentioned, that means you managed to reach the deadline for December to pay the initial payment. How do you imagine you're going to keep up with the rest of the payments all the way to 2029, if I'm not mistaken? And then the third for now, you mentioned the forensic investigations, quite a number of those. Are you able to give us some detail in terms of who the big transgressors are and what you're finding are the big issues when it comes to compliance with staff and so on? Thank you.
Thank you so much. Executive Mayor.
Thank you so much. Elise, I got notes from the speaker. I think firstly, let's correct it. There are no Section 79 committees that fall underneath me as the executive. So I only lead the executive. So whatever committees that I work with, that would be established as a sub-mayoral committee, but not Section 79. But the speaker is informing me that in terms of the councillor's own account, he is dealing with the individual letters to the councillors that own the municipality. And in terms of Section 79, those they are continuing as scheduled. There is a council-approved schedule that the chairpersons are following. So there is no issue. However, if you are unsatisfied, you are very much welcome to speak to the speaker afterwards, so you have him on the record.
Thank you, Mayor.
Nobukanya, in terms of credit control, I think what has been clear to us, looking at the debtors book, and this is also informed by the feedback we received in Imbizos, that debtors book, the way it is ballooning, we have communities who have confessed to us that they've not paid the municipal services since 2016, for instance. They have their own reasons why they have not done so, but that's one of the findings that we got when we were going to Imbizos. Secondly, we've got a lot of residents that want to pay for services, but because they have connected in our grid illegally and using the credit control policy for them to then be normalized again and be connected legally, it requires them, in terms of our policy, 29,000 rand deposit, so that we can, we can connect them legally. So now that presents a set of a problem for us, because what we found in our debtors book is that we even have indigent households that are supposed to be indigent, but and they are not on the indigent register. Hence, it was important that we start with the debtors book, understanding how the debtors book look like, and the majority of the 15-point-something billion that I was talking about is also child-headed households and indigent households. So we need to deal with the debtors book first. Secondly, our creditors, the credit control policy is quite clear. What we are saying is this administration, when we bill people, we must bill them on actuals and not estimates. I think for us, that is the foundation that is going to build trust. And that's the social contract that we agreed to when we were meeting residents. That's the first thing. Bill people on actuals and not estimates. Secondly, those who are connecting illegally to our grid, we must disconnect them. And we must find them in terms of the credit control policy. But also, I think it's quite important that we deal with our indigent program. The policy that we have has not helped us to deal with our debtors book. And so one of the things that we'll be taking to the residents with the budget and the draft IDP in March is our proposal on the reconfiguration of our indigent policy, because that then will help us to know that the people that we are pursuing in terms of our credit control, that would be the people that can afford the services of the city. So that's some of the things that we need to, the credit control policy is there, which is just for us to make sure we are fair in the way that we implement it. In terms of the ESCOM debt, it's quite unfortunate because that arrangement basically ties the residents of Tshwane for 5 years. But how we gonna, the way that the agreement was structured, and it was by agreement between the city of Tshwane and the power utility, was that it must be a court order so that there is no defaulting on it. If it's just a gentleman's agreement, we can take advantage of each other. So what we have done, we have budgeted for the amount that is due in this financial year, and we'll continue to budget for it in the next financial year, because the agreement itself, it does outline this month, this is the amount that is due, this month, this is the amount that this is due. So it's not difficult to budget upfront for it. But obviously, there was a provision to say, if we default on the ESCOM payment plan, we then going to start attracting the interest that we are avoiding in the first place. So it doesn't serve the city to default on that payment arrangement. In terms of the forensic investigation, I can't give you the names for obvious reasons. However, let me just reflect on the 70 referrals to the Financial Disciplinary Board. So that committee deals with financial misconduct of senior officials. So the 70 referrals are basically senior officials who have, found wanting on the side of financial misconduct. So those are the ones that we are waiting for the FDB to give us the report to take to council on what should be the next step. Those that have been dismissed, they are from across the different departments, TMPD being one of the mostly affected. TBS is another department that was mostly affected. And those are basically TMPD. It ranges from all sorts of misconduct, so whether it's bribes, whether it's like there was a case of rape, there was a case of racism in some instance. So those are some of the cases where the employees were dismissed. And so, but I can't give you the names. However, what we also committed on as this administration is that when the wrong has been done, we're not going to look away from it. So as at end of January, we lost one of the Section 56 managers who were found to be to have misrepresented himself during the application process. So instead of negotiating and try to, shy away from the issue, we were en route to council to ask for the Section 56 manager, that Section 56 manager to be disciplined, and he resigned before we got to council. But that was just one of the instances where we have made a commitment that when it comes to issues of misconduct, we're not going to look away from that. The appeal by the Auditor General of consequence management, it's something that's at the center of what we want to prioritize as the administration. Thank you so much.
Me back again. Is there any further round of questions? One there, two there in the white t-shirt. Anyone this side? And we'll have you this side. And the third one. If you can go ahead.
All right, thank you very much. My name is Sanda Mboleka from the Sunday Times. Dr. Moya, we understand that last week you, alongside Johannesburg Mayor Damorero, presented your city state of readiness to host the U20 summit taking place in September. You presented this to Salga in Cape Town, if I'm not mistaken. Are you able to take us into confidence on what are some of the presentations that Tshwane made on their state of readiness to host this gathering of global city leaders, and what is some of the feedback that you've received from that engagement? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sisanda. Next question.
No, thank you very much. My name is Lunga Zangwe. I'm from the Mail and Guardian. Number one for me would actually go to the EFF. Well, they've been saying that they were not happy with the city manager, and I can see today they are clapping hands. Just want to hear if the EFF has changed their minds about having the city manager in his position. And secondly, the city had spoken about a memorandum of, and they wanted to read, understand the memorandum of the deal with AfriForum about cutting the grass. I just want to hear where is that now? How far is that process? Are they going to continue with it, or are they cancelling it? And the other one, Mayor, is that a lot of people here in Tshwane, they are singing praises for you. Are you not in a way worried that your fellow coalition partners, the ANC and the EFF, might want to topple you towards, as you face this election, 2026 local government elections? And lastly, the state of water in Hammanskraal. Can you tell us, Mayor, to say, is the water drinkable or not? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Lunga, for that series of questions. Here, the citizen.
Yeah. Hi guys, morning, Council Mariska here from the Citizen. I just wanted to find out from the Mayor, how was your first 100 days in the hot seat? Maybe just give us a bit of feedback. And then also, I remember with regards to our previous administration, our now administration was very concerned about the townships and service delivery. So I just wanted to hear if we can look forward to some plans to, beef up the townships and improve the service delivery. Thank you.
Thank you so much. EM.
Thank you so much. We'll start with Sisanda. So indeed, Sisanda, it's just that it was not part of the speech here, but when you see our 30 days report, we have reflected on our co-hosting of the U20. It's quite a significant thing for us and the city of Joburg, but selfishly for the city of Tshwane, because that is a platform of cities where we can start advocating for the things that matter to us as the city, especially for us. We are a unique city that also has the world in our city, and so we have decided with the city of Joburg, because there are two main events that needs to be hosted. There's the Sherpa meeting that will then do the preparations for the Mayoral Summit. So we will be using our advantage as a knowledge hub city to then take the Sherpa meeting that will then prepare for the content that will then go into the Mayoral Summit that will be in September. Ours is in June. City of Joburg is in September. That they will then host, because we are also preparing whatever comes out of the U20, it must inform the G20. So what we were presenting to the SALGA last week in Cape Town was basically to explain what this U20 is about, what is its significance to the work of the cities in South Africa, not only in Tshwane or Gauteng, but in South Africa. And I think one of the main things that we have emphasized to SALGA as an association of all municipalities in South Africa, that we need a South African agenda and South African cities agenda that will take into the African cities agenda, to the global South agenda, so that we don't get lost in whatever we will be advocating for. Secondly, that we need a list of bankable projects, because one of the things that we will be advocating for strongly is the issue of climate finance. But in Africa, we're not ready. And we were saying we need a discussion facilitated by SALGA to define exactly what that means for African cities, so that when we meet with from other cities and continents, that we are able to articulate our part. We were welcomed very positively in that we got the support of SALGA, together with other associations like your SA Cities Network. COCTA also is supporting us. So we are now ready. The next you will hear from us about U20s when we are having the media briefing to outline exactly what are the activities leading up to September. But it's a good thing to happen, and I don't think it's going to happen in our continent in a very long time. So we need to seize that opportunity. And then, Lunga, in terms of the EFF, I think you can get them on the sidelines. I think we can just focus on our 100 days plan, but you can get them on the sidelines. The issue with MOU with AfriForum, we did meet with AfriForum. We explained our discomforts with the relationship that they have with the city. They explained their discomforts with us as well. Where we left it was then to say, let's then disengage and look at the MOUs to make sure whether these MOUs are helpful to our vision as this administration of providing equitable services to all areas. One of the issues that we raised with them was that we don't want an organization that only confines in one corner of the city and don't want to expand to others. They also explained their practical challenges to say we remain on we rely on volunteers and whatnot. But that discussion happened. It was a very friendly discussion between an organization and the institution of the people, which is government. What is next now is for us to then pronounce whether the MOU that we have with AfriForum and other organizations that have the same objective of assisting to augment service delivery provision for the city, whether they are aligned to what we are trying to do. In terms of the coalition itself, Lunga, I think so far this coalition has not been about individuals. And we understand that each and every one of us will bring something to the table. So at this point, because obviously I can't control what people say, but whatever work that I get to present, it's an outcome of a collective effort. But what is important for us is our political leadership and the support and the guidance that they continue to give us. because when we go to the campaigns, we understand we will be opposition on the campaign trail. We're not coalition partners there. But there is a constructive way of doing anything that we need to do as we campaign to 2026. And so far, our political leaders that's exactly the undertaking that they've taken, that we must be a model of a coalition that prioritizes the residents above all else. And that's the commitment that we have. Mariska, the 100 days, do you have a therapy for me? It's been a very fun and challenging 100 days. I was lucky in that obviously the 8 months before the mayor's position has reacquainted me with the government which is the city of Tshwane. But I can't falter anyone. It's been a very progressive 100 days. And I have the support. I think that's what matters to me, that of all the challenges that the city has, which it's a lot of them, I always have someone to call. I always have a colleague that can, assist. So it's been good. I can confidently say it's been good. And so that means I'm not running away anytime soon. I think the issue of townships, as you can tell from our 100 days, we've mentioned quite a number of townships and the work that we are doing there. But obviously there's work that happens on a daily basis that we didn't even get to touch here. But we also understand that there are priorities. The mandate of local government says we must give people water, electricity, among other basic services. Hence, you will see efforts in stabilizing the energy supply to Soshanguve that community has been suffering for years. You'll see us talking about the Soshanguve tower that hasn't been providing consistent supply of water. The community of Mabopane, that because of illegal connections, that community hasn't been getting water. Adredville. So you can tell from the speech that we have had targeted interventions to deal with the issue of water supply as well as electricity supply, and of course the roads infrastructure and other services that we can give, especially public lighting. The issue of Hammanskraal water as the last point on this round. I think there's a confusion that I got to watch one interview. Maybe let me just explain it again. So when dealing with Hammanskraal water, it's in two parts. There's an intervention that is provided through the Machalis water as an implementing agent through the Klipdrift wastewater treatment plant. That intervention is paid for by the Department of Water and Sanitation, and we're a partner in that intervention. It's supposed to build a 50 megaliter package plant that will provide clean and drinkable water by June 2025 to all the areas of Hammanskraal that are supposed to be supplied by the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant. So the launch of the first module was initially scheduled for September, was eventually launched in January. The second module was initially scheduled for February, now it's March. And then the fourth module, though, has been scheduled for June 2025. When the intervention through the Klipdrift package plant is done, we will then be able to supply clean and drinkable water to all those areas. What the communities that are going to be part of the second module have been experiencing is more dirty water, smelly water. That is part of the process. Even the communities that under Module 1, they experienced, because we are cleaning pipes that have not worked in 20 years. Because of that, then their water is more dirty. That's part of the flushing of the system. That's what they are experiencing. But the first set of areas, the only challenge we had 2 weeks ago was someone tampered with the valve and closed it. But those areas have not come back and said the water is not safe to drink. So the problem and the water and the bottles of water you see, they are from the areas whose clean water is coming up next. On the side of the long-term solution, which is upgrading the Rooiwal wastewater treatment plant, we, as I said, we've got phase 1. That phase 1 should be completed by June 2026. And so already phase 1A, which was completing the work that was started by Edwin Sodi and Company, and has finished 3 months ahead of schedule. Phase 1B started 5 months ahead of schedule. So we are on track in terms of phase 1 with the help of DPSA. So in terms of the Hammanskraal water, I thought it was important that I outline and also differentiate between these two projects, but also to emphasize to residents that they mustn't panic. What they are seeing is actually progress of flushing the system in preparation for the clean and drinkable water. Thank you.
All right. Is there any other outstanding questions that all members of the meeting? I'll give you a second bite of the proverbial cherry. Any other questions? You can go ahead.
Thank you. It's Nokanya again from Eyewitness News. Mayor, in terms of the spaza shops, you gave us an update on where you are with the registration of the spaza shops before the end of month deadline. But in previous comments, you had vowed to make the Tshwane spaza shops exclusively local, so that they're owned by South Africans. Do you still stand by that? And if you do, how do you plan on getting to that? Because I think in the data that you gave us, it was just over 50% of South Africans that had re-registered their spaza shops. So how would you get to that 100% exclusively South Africans? And then one of the other issues you've been dealing with publicly over the past couple of days is the issue of the former mayor, Mr. Brink, and his comments about the overpayment of historical salaries. I know you were meant to get legal counsel first before you could respond to that. Have you sought legal counsel, and are you able to address that issue of the alleged overpayment of salaries? And then last one, some of the e-hailing companies are taking the city to court over TMPD's, the permit system and the impounding of their vehicles. Are you prepared and are you ready to stand for that in court against those e-hailing companies? And what's your response to that legal, to the court battle that they've now waged against the city? Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Nokokanya. I think in terms of the spaza shops, we have registered now the 4,109 spaza shops, but we must distinguish between registration and licensing. So the registration is more from the side of the businesses to say, I'm here, my business exists. And once we have that on the database, we then need to undergo a process of licensing that business, because then there are other requirements that that businesses need to meet. In terms of our assessment, we don't think 4,100 is enough, by the way, but we also understand that they are, especially in townships, there's fear that the moment you are known by government, then they're going to enforce, but also the issue of the cost to comply. Most of them have raised it with us, and it's something that we are working on. So in terms of the commitment to say we want to reserve the informal trading space for locals, we definitely standing by that. And how will we get there is through the bylaw that I was talking about. That provision is included in that bylaw, and it's going to depend on the Tshwane residents participating in the bylaw to say whether they like the idea or not. But for us to get there, obviously we can't, that commitment can only concretize through a law, which is what we are putting out, but it's definitely included on the draft bylaw that is going out to public participation. So we're standing by that commitment. And at the back of that, understand that what we are saying as this administration, when we talk about the 34% of unemployment, the over 22% of our residents living below poverty line, obviously we need to prioritize where we're not going to hire those people. We don't have that as the municipality, that capacity to hire. So for those residents who say, I can start a business so that I have bread on the table, then we are saying this is one of the ways in which we're going to empower our residents. So definitely we're standing by that. Secondly, the issue of the legal opinion. So the answers were, the former mayor was told that the answers are there. And it was quite curious that as a mayor of 18 months, he didn't know the answers to those questions. But we'll park that for another day. So we are bringing the answers to those questions to council, along with other questions that all of a sudden the members of the previous mayoral committee, all of a sudden they have questions on their decisions. And so we're going to bring those questions. The legal opinion was because we do have that provision in our council rules and orders. But no one has ever responded to questions in this council. We then asked to obviously those who have the muscle memory to say, how have you processed this before? And there were different opinions on how we processed the questions. And then that's why then we said to the former mayor, we've got your answers here, but can we just be guided in terms of how do we process the question? So there's no crisis. He will get his answers. In terms of the e-hailing, as we speak, you can tell we are missing one of our colleagues here, MMC Mohale. She's currently in a meeting with those inhalers. So the work is two-pronged in a way. One, there was a meeting that we convened early December where we met through the MMC, met the inhalers, the e-hailers, and they shared their struggles in the city. And the MMC went and spoke to the province and spoke to everyone and prepared a response. When there was a protest here a few weeks ago, it was the day that they were supposed to reconvene to give feedback to the issues that were raised. So that meeting is happening as we speak. It started at 9 o'clock. And so the issues that we need to resolve, they are being resolved with the e-hailers. On the side of the impounded operators that do not comply with our city bylaws, as this administration, we took a stance. We said to the residents of Tshwane, we're going to fix this city. And one of the ways we're going to fix this city is that we'll make sure we restore law and order. And so there's no amount of blackmailing that should keep us away from that commitment. Because we shared with people that the moment we allow one operator to operate illegally in our city, there are repercussions. And the residents, most of the time, they pay for it. Whether it's a car that is not fit to be on the road or an illegal immigrant that we can't trace when people have been kidnapped, that's a price that the residents have to pay if we as government don't do our job. So for those who are taking us to court, we welcome that. We will go and answer before the judge and produce our bylaws and produce the national laws that guide the work that we do as well, to say this is why we impounded them, this is why we don't allow them on our roads. And obviously the judge then will be the judge. But we're not going to waver. Our bylaws must be respected. And there's no amount of blackmailing and say we are being racial or anything that will stop us from doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, EM. Are there any outstanding or burning questions that you'd like the EM to tend to? Okay, good. Cool. I'm going to invite the Deputy Executive Mayor to give us a vote of thanks. Thank you, DEM.
Thank you very much and good morning to all members of the media. We are profoundly grateful for the coverage you have afforded us since our inception. And we would appreciate if you are consistent in your continual exposure. But I want to request that you remain unbiased and not be entangled into the politics. We have managed to reach all corners of the city due to your presence, and we really, really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
For those members of the media who want one-on-one interviews with either the EM, City Manager, DEM, or any of the MMCs you see before you, just come to myself or Zindle and we'll organize those for you. Thank you so much.
bazoxoxa mos.